All right. So once you have all the stuff that you might need, you can come into a comfortable seat. And let your arms rest down onto your legs, either palms down or palms up, depending which feels better for both the starting, but also you might notice a little difference in your shoulders. So kind of playing around with what feels better there. If you'd like to close your eyes down, invitation to let your eyes shut down if that feels safe in your body today. And always remembering you can keep your eyes open if that's preferable. And as you start to settle into your first shape, noticing any parts of your body that might need a little extra movement, a little wriggle, to get in a place that feels steady. And then once your body feels steady, bring your attention into your breath. And we'll simply start by noticing where your breath falls. Noticing if it's more in your belly, more in your upper chest, maybe somewhere in between. And over the course of the next few breaths, seeing if you can bring your breath down into your belly. So we're moving into more of a belly breathing. As you breathe in, allowing your belly to expand out. And as you breathe out, allowing your belly to come back in. And so this might be a little bit challenging at first. We have a tendency to hold our stomachs in. So this is going to require quite a bit of letting go. And if you'd like to add words to your breath to keep you focused, to keep you in a space of concentration, on the inhale, you might say to yourself, I am breathing in. And as you exhale, I am breathing out. Allowing your breath, your body, and your mind to come into this moment. Noticing any subtleties or nuances as your breath continues to flow in and out through your nostrils. And take a few more slow and steady breaths here. An option to stay exactly as you are. If you'd like, you can come into Anjali Mudra, hands together at your heart center, and creating an intention for your practice today. And if you notice that you lose track of your intention or your mind starts to move elsewhere off of your mat, coming back into your breath, coming back into that verbal mantra. Letting yourself be drawn back into the present moment, into your body today. And gently release your palms back down towards your legs. If your eyes are closed, option to open your eyes and take a moment to take in your surroundings. And before we come to lie down for our twist, we're going to do a little bit into the hips. So from your cross-legged position, it doesn't matter which leg is in front. You can have left or right in front. start to fold yourself forward gently. Now you might come down onto your blocks. You might have your hands down onto the floor. And option to stay here in a cross leg if you get there and you kind of feel like your body's okay and you want to explore something different, you might take more of a Gomukhasana leg. So that'll be one knee atop the other knee. And again, it doesn't matter which side you do. We'll swap sides, so you can do whichever side you want. I have my left on top of right. And then maybe you fold forward from here. And then maybe it's more of a loose shoelace. So one leg's kind of staggered in front of the other. So take your time setting up kind of, you might explore a couple different options and see what feels best. First shape, first mindful yin shape of the practice. So it might take a little while to settle in. And then as you find yourself in your shape, I'm going to add my blocks here. Go ahead and let your head drop if that's okay on your neck. And we'll start to settle in. And coming back into a slow and steady rhythm of your breath. You might notice that your breath perhaps moved out of your belly back up into your upper chest. And if that's the case, just beginning the process again gently and slowly bringing your breath back down. And bringing your mantra back in if that's helpful. And moving through the process of continuing to soften and let go. And checking in with your body periodically to see if there are places that have unconsciously begun to tense or to contract or hold. And then gently reminding yourself that it's okay to soften in and to allow those parts of you to release any holding. And as you continue to explore that holding and letting go, you might notice that a little more space gets created. And so if you need to make any adjustments at this point, please feel free, maybe moving up or down, always remembering you can stay exactly as you are as well. And gently begin to move into your final 3 rounds of breath on this side. And slowly start to press yourself back up, really taking your time to do so, eventually coming all the way to a tall seat once more. You can unravel your legs, bringing your feet about hip width distance. Option to slide off of your blanket or towel if you're on it, and just take one breath at neutral first, feeling any differences between left and right. And so always giving our bodies this moment to rebound, to reset, adjust. And then stay here. You can take some windshield wipers, softly dropping from one side to the other. Okay, go ahead, bring it back to center. Come back up onto your blanket or towel, and then we'll swap sides. So it might be different for everyone, switching whichever leg you had on top or in front. And just remembering, my body's giving me a good reminder today. It might be different on this side, right? So I'm going to take a more loose shoelace on this side, opposed to a tighter connection of my knees. You might take more of a crisscross leg position with your opposite shin in front. And so take your time to set up on this side. And once you feel like your lower body and legs are in a position that's sustainable, start to explore that fold again. And eventually coming down into your shape on this side and coming back into your breath. And then maybe you're starting that whole process again, starting by bringing your breath into your belly. Maybe the transition and the movement opened up a space for your mind to wander. And if that's the case, bringing your mind back in. And focusing and concentrating on this present shape, this current breath. Exploring where you can soften, where you might want to let go and drop in a little deeper. If you'd like to make any sort of changes or shifts, please feel free to do so. And again, come back into your slow and steady rhythm. I am breathing in. I am breathing out.
Allow yourself to maintain your shape and take 3 more cycles of breath. And once more, once you're ready, gently start to press yourself back up. Once more, taking your time to arrive at an upright position. And when you feel ready, again, you can unravel any sort of bind of your legs, bringing both of your feet to the floor, again, about hip width distance. And we take the rebound first, allowing your body to settle in. And sometimes if you have the legs bound, you might notice kind of the blood flow starts to move again. And so just noticing and feeling all the subtleties. Option to stay where you are, or second round of windshield wipers here, sliding off of your blanket or towel. And again, giving yourself a little movement, rocking your knees left to right, maybe shifting your gaze left to right in the opposite direction. Again, gently bring yourself back to center. This time you can lie down onto your back. I'm going to bring both of my blocks off of the left side of my mat, and we're going to prepare for our twists. So come to lie down, keep a bend into your knees for the time being. Noticing any subtleties in the shifting of the position. So your weight's going to be distributed slightly differently. So that might bring in a little more awareness to certain areas. And we'll take a traditional stacked knee twist. So I'm going to take both of my blocks off of my left side so that I can let my knee and my ankles find a little bit of support. And if you have a blanket today, you might explore bringing the blanket between your legs. So I'm going to bring my knees to about 90. I've got a blanket between my knees. And then when you're ready, you can let your knees drop over to the left. Now, just like with every shape, it might take a little bit of adjusting. Arms can come out to a T if that feels good. Maybe you take a more of a cactus variation in your arms. And if the blocks underneath you feel too high, you can adjust them, right? So giving yourself permission to kind of play around here until you find things. There we go. In a space that feels sustainable. And move from the soles of your feet up all the way to the crown of your head in your mind's eye. And seeing if there's places en route that you need to pay a little extra attention to, and maybe stay there a bit longer with your breath. If at any point you want to turn your head, option to turn your gaze over to the right, bringing awareness up into your neck. And also, if at any point this feels like it's too much, you can bring yourself back to center. And continue to breathe in and out through your nose. Making any adjustments that you'd like to. And softly begin to move into your final 3 rounds of breath on this side. If your gaze is over to the right, start by unraveling your neck first, bringing your gaze back up to the ceiling. And then in time, you can start to bring your legs back to a more neutral position at center. If you have a blanket, you can set that off to the side for a moment, letting both of your feet again find the floor. And taking a pause here at neutral, allowing yourself to rebound. Maybe a deep breath out through your mouth. And step your feet about a footprint or so forward. Take your feet out about as wide as your mat. And again, windshield wiper dropping left and right. You might notice it feels a bit more easeful to drop to one side than the other. And then bring your knees back to center, and we'll prepare to take this to the other side. So if you're utilizing blocks, this time your blocks can come off of your right side. Option to use a blanket again, if that was interesting and comfortable, bringing the blanket between your knees and bringing your knees to about a 90-degree angle. Once you feel ready, you can start to drop your knees over to the right, taking your arms once more to a T or a cactus. Maybe there's another variation that you'd like. And as your body finds its shape on this side, again, starting your awareness down in the soles of your feet. And slowly in your mind's eye, with your breath, starting to work your way up. Noticing what's happening in your ankles, your shins, your calves. And once more, if you find places that need a little extra TLC, staying there and breathing. Once again, on this side, if at any point you'd like to turn your gaze over to the left, feel free to do so. And same thing here, if at any point that feels like it's not sustainable on your neck, please gently bring your gaze back to center. Taking your time to make any sort of adjustments here that might be needed. And settling back into your rhythm. Once more, if your gaze is off to the left, slowly start to bring your gaze back to neutral. Eventually, you can start to also bring your legs back to a more neutral position. Releasing a blanket or towel if you have it, bringing both of your feet down to the floor once more. And again, staying here with the soles of your feet against the earth, knees pointing up, taking a moment to pause. Once more, gently step your feet slightly forward and slightly wider than hip width distance. Second round and final round here of windshield wipers, dropping left and right. It might feel a little bit more balanced or maybe a little bit more even after twisting to both sides. So just noticing if that's the case. Remembering it's okay if it's not. And slowly start to bring yourself back to a neutral position. And press down to your feet, roll over to one side just enough that you can press yourself back up to a comfortable seat. And bring your feet to the floor. So they're about hip width distance, maybe slightly wider. Option to grab a block here. So I'm going to grab a block between my hands, like the widest width. We're going to start to add some stability and strength, but keep that movement of the torso and keep that theme of twisting here. So you can lift your arms out in front of you slightly higher than your hips, or excuse me, than your shoulders, the upper body hips. Engage your core, lift up. And then as you exhale, gently start to take your arms down to the right, only as far as is comfortable. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, take your arms down to the left. Inhale back to center. Now you might want to stay upright. Maybe you lean back a little bit more if that's comfortable. Take an inhale. And then exhale to the right. Inhale center. Exhale left. So we're going to keep going left and right. You might want to come up or down depending on how back you're leaning. And so that can be adjusted accordingly. But looking to take it slow, stabilizing through your abdominals as you slowly move from one side to the other. And then notice if the rhythm turns into momentum. And can you slow it down so that that same focus and concentration is still happening? We're just picking up the pace a little bit. All right, we're going to do one more time on each side. And so when you're ready, take it to the right, center, and left, center. Go ahead, come back to a seat, release your block. Option to come back to a crisscross leg position. If you want, you can come back up onto your blanket
So we just did steady core work, but I find that one to be pretty challenging. So we're going to give ourselves a little space in the side body. Go ahead, take your left arm down to the floor or a block. When you're ready, sweep your right arm up and overhead and slowly start to walk yourself over so you can breathe into your side abdominals and into your side ribs. Nice. Option to send your gaze towards the ceiling if that's okay on your neck. And we'll stay here for 4 full rounds of breath. On an inhale, lift your right arm all the way up. Take your arms to a T. And then exhale, release your arms down by your sides. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way back up and overhead, interlace through your fingers. Flip your wrists so your palms are facing up. Engage through your abdominals so that you can drop down into your low back. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, contract your belly, roll forward, opening up your shoulders, your mid and your lower back. Inhale back up to center. Exhale, release your palms, bring your fingertips to left and right. Nice. Inhale, take your left arm up and overhead, walk yourself over to the right, starting once more when you're side bend. Option 2, rotate your gaze up towards the ceiling if that feels okay on the neck. And again, 4 full rounds of breath here. On your next inhale, let your left arm lift you all the way up. Again, arms to a T, nice and wide. And then exhale, release your palms down. Nice. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Interlace your fingers opposite pinky in front this time, so a bit more of an awkward grip. Exhale, flip your wrists up, send your tailbone down, engage your core. Exhale, contract at your navel, roll forward, open your whole back body. And then inhale back up to center. Exhale, release your arms back down to left and right. Nice. When you're ready, transition on to hands and knees. Finding your tabletop. And then we'll bring it back down into the hips for a moment before we take it into another rotation. So drop into your tabletop, send your right toes to the back of your mat, keep your toes onto the floor, and then crisscross your feet. So you're going to take your right foot to the back left corner of your mat. Press your right heel back a little bit, press into your palms, slightly look forward, inhale. Exhale, start to send your gaze over your left shoulder so that you can open up through the right side of your body. And stay here for another breath in. And a breath out. Inhale back to center. Release your right foot back over to the right, keeping it extended long. Step your left foot back to meet it, high plank. Send your hips up and back, adjust your feet, moving into your downward facing dog, and take a moment to bend into your knees here to pedal to sway. Actively press down into your fingers so that you can engage your arms and sending your hips high and stabilizing through your shoulders. And take another breath here in your exploration of down dog. And then gently come back to neutral, and you're ready. Let your knees find the earth once more. And again, establish your foundation of tabletop. This time, take your left toes to the back of your mat. Step your left foot to the back right hand corner. So you get that little crisscross. Press to your palms, press your left heel back, slightly look forward. And then when you're ready, exhale, start to send your gaze over to the right this time. Breathe up the outside line of your left side.
And then slowly bring your gaze back to center. Release your left leg to the back of your mat once more on the left side. Step your right foot to meet your left foot, high plank. Send your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Again, another round of moving, of pedaling, of noticing. You might bend deeply into your knees, coming up onto your toes. And then eventually bring yourself back to a neutral shape. Bend your knees if you're not bent already. Look forward and then walk yourself to the front of your mat, Uttanasana. As you find your forward fold, you can get heavy through your head, neck, and shoulders. Maybe grab opposite elbows and continue that rhythm of sway. Maybe forward and back rocks. Release your palms back down to the ground. Inhale, slide up to your half lift. Walk your hands to your hips, bend your knees, press down, rise tall, Tadasana, mountain pose. Nice. Inhale, take your arms up and overhead. Soft bend to your knees. As you exhale, twist to the left, right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hips back, heart forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground, right foot steps all the way back. Drop your back knee, press down, rise up, low lunge. Take an exhale to settle into your lunge. And when you're ready, inhale, lift up through your torso. And again, exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, release your palms to frame your front foot, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. We're going to do a crisscross. Step your back right foot behind your left foot, crisscross. Nice. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground. Step your right foot all the way back. Step your left foot all the way back. Shift forward, drop your knees. Take your time, lower to your belly. Untuck your toes, elbows draw in, palms press down and back as your heart lifts forward and up. Exhale, forehead to the floor. Tuck your toes underneath, press yourself all the way up to downward facing dog, however you would like to get there. And take 3 full cycles of breath once you arrive. And soft bend to your knees, look forward, make your way to the front of your mat, Uttanasana. Right away this time, inhale to your half lift. Walk your hands to your hips, bend your knees, press down, rise tall, Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. As you exhale, take a twist to the right, left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, soft bend, swan dive all the way down, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground, left foot leads this time, step all the way back. Drop your knee. When you're ready, press down, rise up, low lunge. Take a moment to settle into your shape, find your foundation. And then inhale, lift up through your torso. And as you exhale, we'll twist to the right this time. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, release your hands to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Step your back left foot behind your right foot for the crisscross. Nice. And then inhale to your half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground. Step your left foot back, followed by your right foot, high plank. Send your hips up and back, downward facing dog, 3 rounds of breath. Actively use your hands. Soft bend to your knees so that you can lift your hips. And breathe. Bend to your knees at the base of your third exhalation. Look forward, walk yourself forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Hands to your hips. Last one here, bend your knees, press down, rise tall, Tadasana, mountain pose. Shift the weight into your right foot. Either bring the toes of your left foot to the ground, so you've got a little bend into your knee, or you can hug your left knee in towards your chest. So lots of options here. First option is to stay facing forward and work the balance and play that space. Second option is if you've got the toes on the ground, you might start to lift your arms up towards the ceiling and start to take a twist over to the left. If you're holding on to your knee or your shin, you'll let your right hand stay there and take your left arm somewhere behind you. Nice. So lots of different places to work and to explore. Whatever sort of balance you're working with, go ahead and take 2 more breath cycles. Nice. And gently bring yourself back to center. Find both of your feet on the floor. Rock yourself forward and back. Find Tadasana just for a moment. And then option to stay there, or as always, you might need to kind of rock it out, roll out that base ankle. Okay. Come back to your foundation, and this time bring the weight into your left foot. Option to come up onto the tippy toes of your right foot. Work this balance for a few moments. And again, maybe you take your arms up and start to twist yourself over to the right. You might alternatively choose to draw your right knee in, work the balance with your gaze forward, or keep your left hand on your right leg and eventually take your right arm back somewhere for the twist. Exploring sides. And taking your time to breathe, to adjust. Nice. Wherever you're working, 2 more breaths. And again, very slowly unravel your twist. If you're taking it, both of your feet to the floor, rock it forward and back so you can feel the soles of your feet connecting down. Find Tadasana for a breath, steadying your nervous system, steadying your physical body and your breath. And then again, maybe there's a little bit of a rock, some rolls into your ankles, some shaking out of any stagnant energy. Okay, and find your way at Tadasana once you're ready at the front of your mat. Inhale, take your arms up and overhead. Exhale, soft bend, hips back, heart forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground, step 1 foot back, then the other, high plank.
This time, drop your knees to the ground, shift forward, option to lower down to belly. Untuck your toes, elbows draw in, palms press down and back, heart lifts forward and up, baby cobra. And exhale back down. We'll do that 2 more times this time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Tuck your toes underneath, unravel any way you'd like. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Last 3 rounds of breath here. Gently release your knees to the floor. Crisscross or sweep your ankles, coming back onto your sits bones. You can bring a blanket underneath you. And then take your right foot to the upper right, sole of your left foot onto the inside line. We tend to do Janu Shirsasana in the beginning of class, so I wanted to save it for the end since we've been doing rotation in the hips and it might feel a little bit different. So right leg to the upper right, sole of the left foot onto the inside line. Find that slight rotation, and when you're ready, start to fold over your extended right leg. And so putting it at the end of class versus the beginning of class, you may or may not it kind of interact with the shape differently. And so just noticing if you do. And 2 more breaths. And gently start to walk yourself back up. Unravel that rotation of your torso, and then we'll swap sides. So you can take your left leg to the upper left-hand corner, sole of your right foot onto the inside line, let your right knee drop down. And turn yourself over towards your extended left leg, full breath in to prepare. And as you exhale again, start to hinge at your hips, walk yourself forward. So this time you're folding over your extended left leg. And again, take a few rounds of breath here. Gently start to walk yourself back up. Unravel your torso. Bring both of your feet to the floor, knees up. And then taking our next 2 minutes for your movement. So if you want to do a figure 4, if you want to do any additional stabilizing through the core, so anything that your body's asking for. And as always, it might be Shavasana. But please do feel free to take these next 2 minutes to move as you need. And as always, I'll keep track of time and give you a halfway mark. And we're coming up to the end of our first minute. So taking your time to swap sides if you're working asymmetrically. And we're coming to the end of our second minute. And so invitation at this point to make your way towards your rest, either in an upright seat or reclined in constructive rest or shavasana. And as you take your time to settle into your final shape, again, maybe you might also take a few moments to breathe from your toes to your crown, and noticing anything that's showing up at this point that might need a little extra attention before you settle in. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale, let it go with a sigh. And then give yourself these next few moments to rest. Once more, start to deepen the rhythm of your breath. Eventually allow that to move out into any sort of movement you'd like to incorporate through your body. Deciding if you'd like to close lying down or if you'd like to return to a seat. And if you decide to return to a seat, giving yourself space and time to do so slowly. Invitation to bring your hands together, returning to Anjali Mudra, hands meeting at your heart center, option to bow your head down slightly. Honoring your practice, honoring your ability to be present and to come back into presence through your breath, your body, your thoughts. And so take one more deep breath in through your nose. And again, let it go. And thank you for taking the time to be on your mat, and to be in your body, to explore your breath. And as always, for doing so in community. Namaste. Thank you very much.